Hey there, you're on the internet, I have too much free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Today's ink is by Diamine, here in the plastic 30ml bottle. Graphite Gray. It's a nice, decent gray. It's fairly dark. All the tests were done in this Hero 616 with a very fine nib. Come on. And in this Italix Parson's Essential with a Broad Cursive Italic Stub. Let's check out the chromatography. As you can see, you can definitely tell where the dot of ink was. And there's sort of a steady silvery band going up into a darker gray. And I don't know if this is going to come through on camera, but there's some, I don't know, it's like just hints of greenishness in here somewhere. I mean, I don't know, it's almost like you can feel it more than you can see it. I can't describe it, but there's definitely some greenishness. And I'm not seeing it at all on camera, but yeah. Anyways, top down in density, Clairefontaine 90 grams per square meter. Now, on the 3 sturdier papers, I used the Italix. On the 3 cheaper papers, I used the fine Hero 616, just to try and make it a little more fair. 20 seconds to dry. I feel like there's great shading here, which you can see in the letters and in this little scrubby and at the cross section. No bleed, feather, spread. I said not much echo. I said it's a nice, richer gray than Mont Blanc's Oyster Gray. However, I think I still prefer Lexington Gray over this, but as you can see, some of it remained, but a good deal of it washed away. And something weird happened with this paper, because I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Next is Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter, where I feel like the shading is even more pronounced, but partly because it seems to have gotten a bit lighter. But yeah, 16 seconds to dry, not too bad. Really nice shading, but yeah, I said rich depth of color and then realized this isn't really a color. And then you can see here there's like almost sheen, like it's thinking about it, but it's not quite there, so anyways. There's a slight bit of halo effect where it looks like there's an outline drawn around it. Good flow, nice pen paper ink combo. But here you can see it dyed the paper just a little bit, and what's there is actually mostly gone, so yeah. Next is Tomoe River Paper, where it took 16 seconds to dry. You definitely get shading, and here you can see that it's almost sheen. I mean, it looks like it wants to, and it's nearly there, but yeah. No bleed, feather, spread. I rather like this pen, paper, and ink combo. Water test is mostly gone. Yeah, I smeared it when I was dabbing up the water, but yeah, it's mostly gone. It's barely there. It's, yeah, which is, you know, typical for Tomoe River. It loves to let just ink slide away. Bit of echo because this can be fairly dark in places, like here in the scrubby. So next is the newer 20-pound copier paper, and I used the fine Hero here, and yeah, it spread, it feathered, it bled a bit. It just it's lost its shading. But yeah, it's definitely still a gray and not just a weak black, which is kind of nice. Water test is probably the best we've seen so far. It's very there, it's very dark. It dyed the paper a bit, but it didn't completely explode. As you can see, it came through just in a few spots, but next is Mead Notebook Paper, where it took 2.5 seconds to dry. And you definitely get this woolliness and a bit of spread, because this is a very, very fine nib, and it looks like it's going from like extra fine to fine, maybe even almost to a medium in some places. But again, this looks like a gray and not just a weak black. The water test is not good. Most of it is gone. It dyed the paper. It's very feathery, explodey. The bleed through could have been worse, but what's odd is that where it bled through, it really bled through. Like, there are very clear dots, which is odd, but... And last is Moleskine notebook paper, where it took 4 seconds to dry, which I cannot explain. And you definitely get that woolly texture going on, and you get feathers, and you get some spread. Yeah. I said, given this is already a very fine nib, I do not think this ink and paper jive too well. There's no shading, and I just don't recommend the pen, paper, and ink combo, because, I mean, look at what this did. Like in the water test, it dyed the paper, it's gone, it exploded. It just didn't behave well. I mean, like, look at ink and nib. There's so many little feathers, it's just not great. And it came through. This is a very fine nib, so... Yeah, there you go. Diamine Graphite Gray. It's a decent gray. It's a dark gray. It's easy to wash out of your pens, that's for sure. I think I prefer Lexington Gray by Noodlers, but this is a very decent gray. It does well even on broad nibs on the nicer paper, and it does okay in very fine nibs on cheaper paper, but yeah, so... For your consideration from the Triple N Network. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.